whatsoever. That's what they should understand. The more programs and different things that are set up for the ethnicities in this country as an incentive, they're not getting any parts of, because they're just a non-entity. That other is a non-entity.
So they're not counted at all? Okay.
It's counted, but not counted. It's counted, but not counted.
It just makes me wonder if the other doesn't end up being the fill-in. You know, whereas if you have an instance whereas there's 47% here and then there's 48% there, you know, are those others being utilized to be like, I would say, to act as fillers to support a cause?
It's not necessary, because I see what you mean, to support a cause. It would see in the various cities,
okay,
where there are different incentives for the different numbers, like even in the school system. In the school system, if 50% of the students would take an off day from the school, how much money would they lose? But that's just that one day. If 50% of the students would take off for one day, how much money would that school system lose? Almost enough money would be lost for that one day to cut the budget out for the year. Okay, so they need numbers. All right, for different reasons. But say, for instance, in the city of Chicago, that other allows them really to keep the African American just the minority. In other words, it's more darker Americans than they are brown Americans. It's more darker Americans than they are the lighter Americans, the whiter Americans. So the darker hue would be the biggest, but then there's a other over there that would show you proof positive, even though the blacks are grossly undercounted. But if they throw the other in there, you would see, wow, you mean you got that many blacks in Chicago? Is that more many? Maybe 60-65% if you put all that stuff together. Now, isn't that something? 60-65%. But let's take a break and allow your brain to wrap around those figures. We'll be right back. Well, you know, Denise, during one of the breaks, during one of the segments, you were talking to Phil about the cigarettes and the cost and whatnot. Elaborate on that.
Well, I was speaking to mimicking people shopping in their community, and I used the example of the Magnificent Mile, you know, that's north side of downtown Chicago, but technically it's still downtown Chicago. I'm talking about north of the river on Michigan Avenue. But how the people understand shopping and spending the dollars in the community. And what Phil had began to speak to during the commercial break, I was talking about the flip side of that. And I want him to be able to elaborate more on that, whereas our viewers will have a full picture of what's being played out here within this society.
Yeah, that's right, Denise. I mean, in the Gold Coast, the economy works real well. They shop in their own neighborhoods, but in the neighborhoods outside downtown, it is tough, at least in the gas station and store industry, where the taxes have gotten so high. Sales taxes are usually higher than surrounding counties or towns. The county cigarette tax just jumped to $2. The state is proposing another, I think, 90 cent a pack tax. The feds are proposing another 60 cent. It's going to price us to 10.
What about the city? Don't forget the city.
Yeah, well, the city has some of the highest taxes, and what happens is the consumers, because they can buy it cheaper, say in DuPage and other counties or outside the city limits, And not only do they buy their tobacco out there, but they're buying their gas, because the motor fuel taxes are 20, 30 cents a gallon cheaper in those towns or other counties. So it drives business out of the city, out of the Cook County area, and it also drives business to black markets. I mean, just about in every neighborhood outside downtown in the city of Chicago, you can get, buy Newports. I don't know if they're knockoff Newports or if they're legitimate Newports, but they're for sometimes half the price, so you could buy them in some of these stores, and none of those dollars are going to taxes. And when you cut the tax revenue that way, you're also limiting the service you could provide to those neighborhoods. So it's tough.
And the legitimate business person gets none of that action because they can't afford to be identified with illegal activities, and that's what it would be, illegal activities. So they can't afford to be recognized with that. They see it going on. They don't know how to get rid of it, and oftentimes they feel sympathetic towards it because the people, at least the people around them, are getting a break. Although I can't give it to you, you're getting it. It's hurting my business, you're still getting a break. So you're between a rock and a hard place.
But most of all, it hurts the community because
hurts
their
the community
goals to
tremendously.
increase on police patrol. Their goals increase on the infrastructure within the community, from your sewers and streets and a number of other things, that those tax dollars pay for. So everybody misses out, so I really can't be too sympathetic. I understand, but I really can't be too sympathetic because you're cutting everybody's meal more than in half. Everybody misses out. So if the only people that are eating is the black market, how far is that going to go? Now here comes another market to perpetuate that's going to put yet another cloud over the community.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, thank you very much, partner.
Pleasure being
yes.
on your show, WL.
Again,
Denise,
we got to have you
enjoyed
more
it.
often to
Sure.
come in and just chat about business,
Yeah.
and about the past. And I don't live in the past. I live in the present. It's so much fun to think about the past. Thank you very much.